The drumming song, and before that, Cast on Tameside Radio and All Right. You are listening to the Dave Sweetmore Show. Great to have you with us tonight. As always, we're live. Laura's here, Letitia's here. And I said at the beginning of the show, if you listen every week, you will have worked it out by now, that since we started doing Local Music Spotlight a year and a half ago, whoever the band or artist of the week is, the following week on the Monday night they come on this show and play for me and you. And we've had all sorts of different music, from rock to soul to indie to absolutely everything, but we've never had a dance artist. And tonight we have got a dance producer in the studio with us. A little bit different to what we normally do, but I'm dead excited, and it is brilliant that we have got someone like Rick Holden, who is going to be Artist of the Week next week on Local Music Spotlight. And I'm delighted to say that the man himself, Rick Holden, joins me now. Rick, how you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks, Dave.
Listen, cheers for taking the time out to join us today. It's the first time we've met. We're going to talk about your career, where it started, where you're at now, and I already feel like it's going to be one of them that we could just talk for hours and hours, so we're going to get as much in as we can. Before we do anything, though, we are going to play one of your tracks. This is a track called No Time. Tell us a little bit about this.
Right, so this track's actually with a vocalist I've worked with a number of times. Met them online, called Junior Pay. Brilliant singer from Brazil. And he basically produced a number of vocals, and this one really stood out to me. I thought I can really do something great with this one, make a really good tune, clubby type tune. So absolutely went with it. So this one's out already, and yeah, that's basically where it went.
Tell us a bit about Junior. Where's he from?
So from Brazil, I actually met the person online, because there's a number of vocal sharing websites where amateur vocalists will put their vocals on there and say, basically, I want to work with someone to produce some music. They just do the vocals, put them on there, and got chatting with them. And then as they come up with new stuff, got that sent out, and I've gone, yeah, work with that. So got a really quite good working relationship there with somebody from the other side of the world, which is mad.
It's brilliant, and I can't wait to hear about your early days as a DJ and producer. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but my guest in the studio tonight is Rick Holden, and with Junior Pay, this is No Time. Rick Holden featuring Junior Pay on Tameside Radio, No Time. You are listening to the Dave Sweetmore Show. Rick Holden is our guest in the studio tonight, joining us live. Next week, he's going to be Artist of the Week on Local Music Spotlight. Rick, first time I've met you tonight, we've been talking loads off air. Let's go right back to the beginning. What are your first memories of music?
Wow, I was into music from being a little kid. I used to love just playing records over and over again, and that what got into me. Dad plays guitar and stuff, so I've grown up with music. That's what I've grown up with. Learned a bit of keyboard and stuff, but I've always loved technology as well. So when you start getting sampling packages and stuff like that, and you could start writing your own music on things like the Amiga and stuff like that, that really talked to me, because like technology and music at the same time. Loved the dance music, so you could get the beats down really easy and stuff like that, and it's grown from there really. I mean, what you can do from those early days to what you could do now on the digital audio workstations is phenomenal. You can literally do anything on them and pull anything together.
From talking to you, I get the impression we probably first started going out clubbing at a similar time, like, the mid to late 90s and all that. And I very much went down the indie rock and roll route and all that. What was it that the dance did for you? Because that dance music of the 1990s is still as popular as anything ever now.
Absolutely. It's and that really got me into, when I first started going clubbing, I absolutely loved the music. So especially the Euro music in the 90s and stuff like that. And that's really stuck with the kind of stuff that I do today. The synths, the beats and stuff like that. Very much influenced by that style of music. Also some of the harder stuff, because I do sort of some of the generic commercial stuff like we just played, but I also do harder tracks as well. So some of the harder happy hardcore and stuff, going back to those late 90s days. A lot of influences from all that I pulled together, and it just really resonated with me.
So where were you going? I'm guessing you were like Maxime's and all that. And
to be fair, actually, I love stuff like that. I went to Gatecrasher a couple of times. I do like a bit of trance music, but believe it or not, I actually spent a lot of my time out in Ashton in the 90s.
Right.
Believe it or not, yeah. Well, it used to be a great night out in Ashton, but used to like going out in town and stuff as well. Went to Hacienda once and just, places like that, really. Bowlers was another one.
So I do a lot of work at Bowlers now. I'm like resident for all the events there.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, for me, out of all the places I'm really, really lucky to work at, when I was at school, Bowlers was the place. And I say this all the time when I'm there, it would have been a dream for me to be working at Bowlers. And now, like I say, I'm there 4 or 5 times a year. Do you know what I mean? And Bowlers was just...
Oh, it was phenomenal. We actually went just pre-COVID. They did like a reunion night there, and it was just that buzzing same atmosphere you had like back in the 90s, early 2000s. Was everybody just having a great time, just enjoying the music.
So before we crack the beers open and start reminiscing about the good old days, let's talk about you. When did it go from loving that music and it doing something to you to going, right, well, hang on, I want to produce something myself?
Well, like I said, I started doing it when I was about 16 years old, really. Just playing about on a soundtracker program, really. And then when I was a bit older, I got a Roland XP50 keyboard, which was a lot of the dance producers were using with a dance card in it. Really sort of took off then. And then, so with uni and everything, took a bit of a backseat. And then a few years ago, sort of saw what you could possibly do now with the digital audio workstations. Got into messing about with them a little bit. And then really took off, started uploading stuff to YouTube. A few people heard it and said, actually, that's really good, you should put it out there. And I thought, well, actually, can I do this as an independent? I actually found you can actually distribute yourself through various different organisations to all the streaming companies. So, they've really taken off since then.
As someone who started playing with vinyl in the late 90s to what you're doing now, how important has it been that you keep up to date with technology? Has that been a natural thing, or is it a case of you've had to do it?
No, it's a natural thing, really. Like I said, I've always been into technology, so it's just been really natural for me to move along, because even though I used to do a bit of DJing on vinyl and stuff back in the day, I was still using like the soundtrackers and stuff like that on the computers then, so it was like an evolution of that, really.
It's quite interesting because we have a lot of bands in here, and the way that they record stuff and record music and put it out there has obviously changed over the years. But for someone like myself who's into music, rock and roll bands are still 2 guitars, bass drums and a piano or whatever, do you know what I mean? But dance music, it's forever evolving, isn't it?
It is. It's very different. I mean, basically you can get so many different sounds out. I generally stick with my... your kick drum stuff like your 4/4 beats are pretty much a given. The synths, the amount of different synths I use, I've actually got a plugin which is called Vital, which does thousands of different synths, and I can just literally sit there for hours just playing with it, saying, right, I'm going to like that, tweak that one a bit. That sounds brilliant, I can do something with it. So, there's so much you can do now with what's out there.
I'm going to play another of your tracks in a minute called Way You Love Me. The one thing we haven't touched upon there, though, is the fact that you've carried on producing all this music. What about live DJing? Is that something you've done throughout the years as well, or have you pretty much just stayed in the studio producing the music?
So no, I've not actually DJ'd for years, probably 90s last time I did it. I think it was Isobar when it was there in town. So yeah, late 90s when I last did that. I just got right into the producing side. It is something I wouldn't mind getting back into again, but as we were talking about before, things have changed massively, haven't they, since then? So.
We're going to talk more about that in a minute. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, actually, because we're off the same kind of like background kind of thing. But I'm going to play another track now called Way You Love Me. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, this one was actually produced using a ghost vocalist. Literally heard the vocals, saw the lyrics, absolutely loved it. I thought I can really make something out of this. And this one's actually exclusive for you, Dave, because it's now on streaming services till this coming Friday. So.
We like that word. Let's have it. It's Tameside Radio. You're listening to the Dave Sweetmore Show. Rick Holden is live with me tonight. Brand new record. You're hearing it first. Comes out on Friday. This is Way You Love Me. Tameside Radio, you are listening to the Dave Sweetmore Show. My guest in the studio tonight is a man who is going to be Artist of the Week next week on Local Music Spotlight, Rick Holden, and that was a track that's not released yet. Don't come out until Friday. You heard it for the first time, and it is called Way You Love Me. Rick, we've spoke about, in fact, we've not stopped speaking about the late 90s and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the future for Rick Holden. What does the future hold?
Well, future, I'd just love to continue doing what I'm doing. Hopefully, continue to grow my fan base, get out there, get more people listening to me. Things seem to be taking off because I'm actually for next year, producing the theme music for the official Manchester Eurovision parties as well.
Wow.
So they've actually posted the full theme on their website at the minute, but I've got to do loads of different versions of that. I'd like to, as well, one thing I really would like to do, we talked about live music before, I'd really like to do some live shows, so work with some local vocalists. A lot of them are other side of the world that I work with at the minute, so working with some local vocalists to get some live shows out there would be absolutely brilliant.
There's a lot of people who listen to this show every week religiously that become really good friends, and they know how much myself and Laura get behind new music. Keep in touch with us, because we do really relish, the connections and all that kind of stuff that you can make. So you are hoping to get out live as a DJ again?
Hopefully, yeah. I'd love to do that. That'd be brilliant.
When you're releasing music, I mean, we talk to a lot of bands, and a lot of bands now, some do want to make an album and have that piece of art with it. Then a lot of bands very much, and musicians are very much like, no, we'll just do singles all the time. Yeah. For you as a dance music producer, do you have any interest in bringing out like an album of your work, or is it very much a case of let's bring out all the singles?
I would love to do an album. I mean, at the minute, I'm just concentrating on the singles and getting my name known out there. But I think once, if it takes off a little bit further, I would love to do an album, bring everything together, and just do a few extra album tracks and stuff as well to go with the singles that are released.
Next week, you are our Artist of the Week on Local Music Spotlight, and I've said this a lot. I've been talking a lot about it in the office as well during the week, is that Letitia will probably be able to tell us it's behind the sign with all the bands we've had on, but I think you're going to be like the 74th, 75th Artist of the Week.
Wow.
Yeah, 72.
So yeah, well over 70 artists, and it's
Brilliant.
The first time we've had a dance artist, producer on, so it's dead exciting, and I can't wait for it. We are going to be playing you on every single show next week from 6 o'clock Monday morning till 7 o'clock Friday night, and you will be covered in our local newspapers as well. If people want more information about Rick Holden, where's the best place to look?
Check my website, www.rickholden.co.uk. I'm also on all social media, but all the new releases, everything that's coming out, all the news is all on my website, so check that.
And if you do end up doing any DJ sets as well as like letting me know, you are going to put all that on socials as well, yeah?
Absolutely will, yeah. All the info will be on there.
Rick, it's been a real pleasure having you in the studio. I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. I really, really could. Can't wait for you to be Artist of the Week on Local Music Spotlight next week. Good luck for the future. The only thing I'll ask is keep in touch and let us know what you're doing, yeah?
Absolutely, Dave. No, thank you for having me. It's been brilliant.
I do love the fact that we've not stopped talking off air about the late 1990s. Next track we're going to play is back to 1994. Tell us about this song before you go.
So this one's a bit more of a hardstyle track. The other's more generic Europop club dance. This one's a bit of a harder style. So generally when I'm releasing, I do a commercial track, a bit of a harder track, because I like the harder dance music as well. This one is called Back to 1994, because that was when I first really got into everything, and it was the era that was just absolutely, as we were talking about, Dave, absolutely brilliant. Everyone just had a great time, and I just thought, what a brilliant name for a track.
I left school in 1994, and it was the year of Oasis. It was when dance music were brilliant. It was brilliant. So to be leaving school, finding out who you are, and walking into nightclubs was just a brilliant time, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Rick, it's been a real pleasure having you in the studio. Just remind us once again where people can find you.
Yeah, www.rickholden.co.uk, and I'm also on all the socials as well.
Keep in touch. Artist of the Week next week on Local Music Spotlight. Rick, it's been a real pleasure. Keep in touch, man, yeah?
Will do. It's been a pleasure, Dave. Thanks.
And this is Rick Holden on Tameside Radio and back to 1994.